Good morning. Good morning. I am Rodney Christopher Glover, a candidate for governor of Florida. And normally, I'll say go to the website, but that's just not why I'm here today. I'm here to simply say that you have a choice, you have an option. There's a lot of perspectives, but there's a lot of choices, and you can choose. This all stemmed from two interactions I had yesterday. I'm out meeting people, asking questions, getting surveys, and I asked a young lady, I say, hey, do you think that you should have control over your elected officials? She says no. I mark it down. Nope, sure don't. I don't typically ask why, but this time I did. And she says, when you hire a representative, you hire them to do the job that they've been hired to do. And I said, I can understand that. So then I followed up. What if they don't do the job they're supposed to do? You just keep letting them. This is her response. You just keep letting them do the wrong thing. I said, so you being the boss, you being the person who hired them, you would continue to let them do wrong because you hired them, even though, and you don't want to have a means to stop them from doing wrong? This person said no. After their tenure is up, you just don't rehire them. Now, logically, I'm thinking to myself, why would you let them go on that long? You don't want even a pathway to do this? But I don't know this person's experience in life that led them to this thought process. So I left it alone. Like, I'm not here to argue with you. If that's your thought process, whatever led you there, I don't even know where to start to pull you out of that. Woo! But that's your choice. You don't want to have a place. You've got so much faith, even if they're doing wrong. Okay. Then I meet a gentleman. Again, no, everything is great. Gotcha. Logic. Because he kept pushing. Yeah, everything's so great that for me that I never want to change anything. Okay. So even having the possibility, the availability, just in case things didn't go well for you, things are great for me, so there's no reason. This individual is saying this for everyone who's watching me. This individual is saying this with no teeth in his mouth. So I'm thinking to myself, while he's talking, hey, everything is so well that you chose somewhere in your life to not go to the dentist at some point, and your teeth have eroded to the point where I'm positive there's no coming back from that. You're gonna have to get something false. But everything in your life is going so well based on what's happening that you didn't even consider that you could still have a nice smile. These individuals are out here. And that tells me again that we are all looking at life through different lenses. Even the thought of having a pathway to stop harmful things from happening to you. There are people out there that don't even want the pathway. I'm definitely not arguing with that individual. I'm hoping that I meet more people who do want a pathway if things get harmful. Even if you like it, logic tells me that if you are okay with everything that's happening, that me creating a pathway for you to vote on every piece of legislation, you will inevitably vote the exact same way as the representative. There should be no changes. So why not want to create that? Yet there are people who don't understand that in the same environment that a very wealthy person and a very poor person have distinct differences. There are people who act like that's not a real thing. That, hey, the very wealthy person does not feel the negative effects. It's like having $100 and the poor person having $10. and the price goes up to $12, they both still have to figure out how to pay $12. The wealthy person is just going to be able to pay the 12. But the poor person has to figure out how to come up with the extra $2. And there are people that say there's no difference. There's a huge difference. We have got to find common ground to remember that everybody is not the same. That the word different is real. That I didn't create that word and you didn't create that word, but it is there and it means that there is something that is not the same. And we have got to remember that we must care enough about people who don't live in the same environment we do, that when a rule, statute, or regulation gets created, that it can have an adverse effect on them that it will not have on someone else of a higher stature, because there are tiered systems, there are wealth gaps. That's not fake. That's not fake. There are people out here who believe that every single person, we're talking 335 million estimated Americans, all have the exact same resources and opportunities to become the top 1%. Just the statement alone makes it invalid. If you have a top 1% of 100, you cannot put everybody in the 1%. It's not possible. It's not mathematically possible. And it is so complicated to try to get that little thing understood. You have people out here that make arguments with nothing, with no historical data, no reference data, just thoughts and feelings that back their claim, just thoughts and feelings, and will argue you down if you try to show them a fact that goes against their thoughts and feelings. I understand that we have to respect thoughts and feelings, but legislation is not written on thoughts and feelings. It's written on data, on factual data, or someone trying to create factual data. I am trying to tell citizens that there are citizens, when legislation is being written, that are being written off. And when desperation kicks in, and it will, that those citizens, based on their desperation, will do what's necessary to survive. So why not do our best to ensure that we cover as many people as possible, not to make a desperate environment? I'm really trying to implore upon you that legislative authority for citizens, having a pathway for every single person to weigh in. There's nothing wrong with that at the state level. It may be super difficult to implement higher up, but let me tell you something that I understand. If citizens get more control in their state, it will reverberate through our federal level, because those representatives that we send already understand that in their state, the majority of their citizens, they are accountable to, not just in wording, but in action. That's why it's important. If you get this far in this video and you want to support legislative authority, go to the website, download the petition that's pre-filled out with my name, and take it to your local supervisors of elections office, because it is real out here. There are people who don't see things the same way you do. And that's the point. Whatever we're going to do, however we're going to do it, we're going to do it through unity. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about that. It doesn't matter if your unity is small or if it's large. It's going to happen by unification. It's very important. It is. Legislative authority, direct democracy for citizens, it's very important. And it is necessary. So I encourage you, get out there, meet one another, talk to one another. Ask each other what's going on. Hey, find out why facts don't matter, if that's your thing. This is huge, because if a lot of things are going back to the states, then citizens better get some control over these states. You better control what's going on in your state. With that, you guys have a great day. Hope to see you out there. If I come up to you, please give me 15 seconds of your time. You guys have a great day.